For today's cup of coffee, I have a what the fuck file. This one's a really good one. But before I start on that, Ted Kaczynski had passed, and that was on June the 10th of 2023. I have a totally different take on Ted Kaczynski than a lot of people do. And I started to go ahead and do a video about that, but I was afraid I'd go off on a tangent and a rant. Realize this about anytime anybody does something that is considered horrible and killing people, yeah, that's pretty horrible. He was, as far as I know, he had Asperger's, and he was also the victim of MK Ultra. He had gone to one of these Ivy League colleges when he was 15, and that was when the MK Ultra program started. And there's a strong possibility that the man had schizophrenia, because if you do read the manifesto as it was typed, then you can see a lot of things that can be correlated with symptoms of schizophrenia. So, yeah, don't always judge people. I'm not saying what he did was correct in the least. I think that somewhere in the twistedness of his brain, he thought that that was the only way that he could get people to pay attention to his message. And if you read the manifesto, a lot of the stuff he said was correct. And, it's like, oh, he killed 3 people. Absolutely. And we have governments that have killed millions. So I'll leave it there. That's why I'm not going to go on a tear on that. Would rather deal with the what the fuck file. And this is from Daily Mail by Stephen M. LEPORE, June 8th of 2023. A Florida man survived an infection of flesh-eating bacteria that he got in bizarre fashion from another man while trying to break up a fight at a family party. I told you it was a what the fuck file. Donnie Adams was attending a family event in Tampa Bay in February when 2 relatives began to tussle. Adams attempted to get in between them, but one of them ended up biting him before he could stop the bout. He immediately went to the hospital and got a tetanus shot and antibiotics, but he said that things only got worse. Adams said, quote, "By the 3rd day, my leg was very sore. I couldn't walk, and it was very warm and very painful," end quote. He eventually returned to the hospital, according to WSAV, when he received startling news from osteopathic physician Dr. Fritz Brink at HCA, Florida. Brink told Adams he had necrotizing fasciitis, more commonly known as a flesh-eating bacteria. The disease enters through a break in the skin, travels through the muscle sheath, and destroys healthy tissue. Brink immediately performed surgery to cut out the infected tissue in Adams' thigh, which the doctor believes came from the bite. Brink said, quote, "A human bite is dirtier than a dog bite as far as the kinds of bacteria that grows. Normal bacteria in an abnormal spot can be a real problem," end quote. About 70% of the tissue in front of Adams's thigh needed to be cut out, according to the Tampa Bay Times. Brink stated, quote, "You're torn between being as aggressive as you can to stop the infection from spreading and leaving as much tissue behind so that it won't take 2 years to heal," end quote. Adams claims that he had had he not gone to the ER, quote, "there was a good chance that he could have lost his leg," end quote, or gone into a potentially fatal septic shock. Adams remembered, quote, "They assessed my wound and it was horrific. It was unbelievable. But in my mind, I just had to get through whatever this was," end quote. Adams needed nearly 3 weeks to recover in the hospital, but is in the middle of 6 months of treatment to fully heal. He no longer has any functional problems, but has a nasty, visible scar on his thigh from the surgery. However, Adams has maintained a positive attitude about the entire process and owes his recovery to both the doctors as well as praying and meditating regularly. Adams stated, quote, "What you see now, you see not just a scar, but the beauty of the aftermath. I would have never imagined that a human bite would turn into something so horrific as a flesh-eating bacteria," end quote. I think it's interesting that he got bit on the thigh. I'm not sure exactly if this was like jujitsu, that they was down on the floor rolling, or what happened, but yeah, I told you it was a what the fuck file. I truly did. I wonder if the family member, if any charges were pressed, if they told this person to go and get some kind of vaccine to brush their teeth. I don't know. There's a lot of questions I have. But again, I'll leave it right there. If you've had experiences with the paranormal or supernatural, encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, what the fuck files, and there's a ton of them these days, then you can send me an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. And the link to the article will be in the description box, as well as the email address. We've got alien stories coming in the next few cups, because once it started rolling, it's going to roll for a while. And we knew that this was going to happen. So be prepared. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I always support tiny, microscopic pirate radio stations like this one. Know that you're loved, and Lord willing, we'll see you on the next cup. Bye.